welcome back to another video. Hope all is well. What a beautiful morning. We had some pretty gnarly storms around here. I think we got like 2 inches of rain and a couple tornadoes touched down. Not in my specific area, like close, but in a couple different places throughout Ohio, we had some tornadoes touch down. A guy yesterday at work from another company, he came in and he said his wife actually worked and saw one of the tornadoes, and he said she has troubles walking downstairs, and they work upstairs in a building, and obviously during a tornado they're not going to let you use the elevator. And so he said his wife told him that all of his other coworkers ran downstairs and she was stuck and she was the last person up there, and she just said, F it, I'm just gonna stay up here then. And she sat at her desk, and her desk is right by a window apparently, and so she just sees a tornado go by outside while she's sitting on a second story by a glass window. I said, dang man, what happened to No Man Left Behind? But besides the tornadoes that touched down, it was really windy and it rained really heavy. Nice. Nice. It's crazy that those flock cameras have just kind of taken over the whole United States. If you look at like the map of like how many were deployed, and then just 1 year later, it's like spiders, you know. There's like 2 spiders, and then they have 1 million babies, and then there's 1,000,002 spiders in your house. Don't quote me on that number. But they're really interesting. I think a lot of people have an issue with them having the data and not being told exactly what they're doing with it, because you know they can advertise it as they're only selling to police and they're only using it for criminals who are running from the cops, or you know, a whole slew of different reasons why they need to know where a car went, rather than just using normal interstate cameras, because that's another thing. You know, for the longest time, most intersections have cameras that they can pull back on, so it's not necessarily, in my opinion, that people are mad about that there are cameras. I think it's just the level of detail and not really knowing where the information is going. Like, is it truly like a closed set? If my sheriff department puts up these flock cameras, are they the only ones that are accessible to this data? And that has been shown that it's not. There are open access cameras that random people have been able to get into. And also another thing about data is the new gold. So are these people selling art movements, you know, social credit. The coveted Wilkie movie review. Today's movie review is one that I saw this last weekend in theaters, which I will have to preference. I was slightly inebriated, so my view on it could be a little bit skewed. The movie is Obsession. My first thought is it's pretty good. I know it's kind of like a psychological thriller horror movie. Overall, I think it did pretty well at that genre. A quick overview of it from what I grasped. So the movie, you follow the main character and his group of friends. Majority, just the main character. And he makes a wish for a girl in his friend group to be in love with him because he likes her. Of course, she doesn't really like him like that. And so he goes and makes a wish that she would love him. And then the rest of the movie is that playing out. It's kind of like, it's like a genie, but all the genie's wishes have like a negative side. Like, I wish to be the best singer, but everyone else is just tone deaf all of a sudden. Very, in my opinion, wasn't a bad movie at all, but just the whole thing was very odd. Just how they portrayed her obsession and his reaction to the obsession. It's one of those movies that I definitely recommend, but you're gonna feel some type of way after watching it. And that's really the best I can describe it. As a watching experience, I think it was filmed very well. I know Corey Barker is one of the executive producers, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'll throw it up on the screen. And they're a little bit newer. I mean, into the film game. It's kind of like Key and Peele vibes. They've been doing shorts for a long time, and then they've started making their movies. If you told me it was like an A24 film, if you're familiar with any of those, that's kind of like the weird, creepy vibes that it gave off. It was just kind of filmed like how they are usually filmed, kind of creepy, hidden messages. But overall, very, very well filmed movies. But he's too busy smoking a cigarette to go. It's definitely one that is recommended to see if you like that kind of psychological thriller type of movie. Wee. Hello, cop. I always get hit with this red light. Now we shall wait. Count how many red cars there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Always spooks me a little bit sitting right here, because the amount of people that cut this corner too sharp. I think I lost track of how many red cars I have. I think that would be number 10. That might be 11. Every time I see a moving pod, it reminds me of when I moved cross country, and we just got a budget truck and loaded everything up, and we drove ourselves. Utah to Ohio is such a long drive. It is mind-numbing. You're just on the road, especially we took 80, but it's just, you're right here for 12 hours. It hurts your brain. It's super weird. I'm not used to it being a little bit chilly in the morning, especially in the summer. Obviously with riding a bike you get the wind chill. I mean, I'm going about 50 right now, so it's whatever the wind's blowing plus 50 miles an hour wind chill factor. But in Utah, pretty much, I mean, it got earlier and earlier every year for the last couple of years, but pretty much from like late May all the way up until really September, and the coldest it would get, it would be like 80s if we're lucky, and then all the way up to like 100 and some change. And if we're lucky, you know, during the night it would cool down to like 70-ish. But as soon as that sun came out, you know, midday, it's back up to 100 degrees. And sometimes the nights didn't even get that. You know, chilled down. They would just stay like 80 degrees during the night. I know, speaking strictly from like a safety aspect, I don't wear gloves. I hardly ever wear gloves. The only time I ever wear gloves is usually when it's cold. And so in the summer, I don't even think about it. But my fingertips are getting a little chilly. There's technically 2 lanes there, but the amount of people that don't turn correctly and they come straight into this lane, it ain't even worth trying to go. Please be patient. Heaven is real. What did that bumper sign say? I don't know. I start work at 7 a.m. It's real bad if I ever don't leave on my normal time when school's in session, because this is a school zone and there's a school back in there. And then past that roundabout there's a school down that way. And so there's just a ton of school in session that kids are getting dropped off at. If I leave early enough, I miss it for the most part. But if I I'm not disciplined enough and don't get out of bed when I'm supposed to, then I get stuck behind like 3 buses. Oh, I did not even see that. I damn near hit a skunk. It was already dead, but that's why you always gotta pay attention. Also, when you ride, even if you're not riding in a group, but especially if you're riding in a group, pick a side and stay to it, just to try to mitigate, you know, if something does happen and you have to hard brake, someone's not right under your ass and they run into you. But try to pick a side and stick to it, especially when it has rained somewhat recently, because the roads get oily and dirty and I mean just a whole bunch of crap. And when it has just barely rained, the road mixes with the oil and the gas and the dirt and it becomes slippery. So if you try to stay in like the wheelbase of a car, normally their wheel has already kind of cleared the path and it's less likely to be slippery. And I hate people. It's 35 up until this sign right here. It used to be 55, and then that turn sign says 40. So obviously it's faster than 35 here, but impatient fucks. Okay, bye.